And William Jones is another man, a close friend of Warren Hastings. When Warren Hastings came to India, several scholars accompanied him, most notable of whom are William Jones and Charles Wilkins. Charles Wilkins later became a great man who translated Bhagavad Gita into English. And William Jones is the man who became responsible for founding Asiatic Society, which even today stands in Calcutta, that did a lot of work in taking Indian wisdom to the West, especially to centers of learning like London, Moscow, Paris, Berlin, etc. This William Jones was a versatile personality. He had mastery on more than 15 to 20 languages. And he was given the responsibility of translating Manusmriti into English because he was the appointed Chief Justice of Supreme Court of India of those times. He had to at least oversee this translation of Manusmriti into English because Manusmriti was the jurisprudence, the judicial system upon which Hindu law did stand till then. And suddenly you can't destroy what is presently prevalent and you cannot reinforce something else in its place. No sensible man would do it. And therefore William Jones and Warren Hastings, they wanted to continue the same jurisprudence that Hindu people were following till their coming into India and their capturing power here. And of course for Muslims, Muslim law was there. They were sensible enough to have Muslim law for Muslims and Hindu law for Hindus. For good or bad reasons, we don't know, but that became the fact. So this man had to oversee the translation of Manusmriti into English. In the course of the translation, he came across so many things that simply startled him. One day, he went to his friend and the ruler of those times, Warren Hastings. And William Jones says, "Mr. Hastings, we have come here to take away all the treasures of India. Remember, there is a treasure unknown to most of our Europeans, but the treasure is any number of times more valuable than the diamond or the gold that we see here. You know what is the treasure? There is so much in Sanskrit literature. There is so much wisdom in Sanskrit literature, compared to which the preciousness of any other precious thing in this world simply fades into insignificance." Warren Hastings, being also a man of letters, was so much impressed by this, and he made all arrangements for translating important things that were there in Sanskrit literature into English. He assured, "Yes, let us go for translation." William Jones says, "Translation is not enough. We must start a center that is exclusively meant for this process. It should be totally dedicated for that. We must have a center, a forum, comprising scholars of reputation, who will be engaged in doing this, because there is so much that needs a team of high-placed scholars who can work on this project for decades together. Otherwise, you will not be in a position to touch that even substantially in any sense." This very William Jones will say, one whole human birth will not be sufficient to familiarize oneself with any considerable part of Sanskrit literature. At later time, on a later day, he makes this statement. One whole human life will not be sufficient for making oneself familiar with any considerable part of Sanskrit literature. Perhaps the same sentence must have been uttered while he was discussing this with Warren Hastings. We need one very forum itself dedicated for this purpose. Even that was sanctioned. That is how Asiatic Society Calcutta came into existence. The one person who was very much interested in the translation work was William Jones himself. Within few years, he came to the conclusion, which he doesn't hide anywhere, which he makes a vivid statement also about. What was that observation? With the due respect of our Newton, without, let me quote what he said. Without meaning to pluck a single leaf from the laurels of our immortal Newton, without meaning to pluck a single leaf from the laurels of our immortal Newton, I can with the firmest conviction say that major part of his philosophy and the whole of his theosophy his theology is found in the Rig Veda. The whole of his philosophy put forth by Newton, the whole of his theology put forth by Newton is found in the Rig Veda. Who is saying this? An Englishman, noted for his scholarship. A person who could on equal footing talk with the first Governor General of India, Warren Hastings, who could convince the then Emperor of India, Warren Hastings, into whatever plans that he had in mind. Such a man of wonderful intellectual reputation, intellectual standing, is saying the whole of the philosophy of Newton and the whole of the theology of Newton are found in the Rig Veda. Where do we stand? What is Rig Veda? It is just some Sanskrit literature that will help you for doing some havan. It is just something that the priestly class in India will use for everyday chanting. We never bother to probe into all these things. We used to bother to probe into all these things. We used to bother to get at these great truths and get benefited by them till Gupta's period. Afterwards, we could not continue the legacy for so many socio-political reasons. After having got independence, why didn't we do this? $1 million question that looms large before a very sensitive mind, before a very sensible person. Long, long ago, Vivekananda had said that the whole world is in need of light and India alone has that light. This is a notable observation that was made by Vivekananda during his Madras lectures after his triumphant return from America. The whole world is in need of light and India alone has that light. Even as regards the riddle that has crept in with respect to the God particle also, India alone has got the capability to give the solution. The other day, I was talking to one of my friends, T.G.K. Murthy, a retired scientist from ISRO, who is still there in Bangalore, and who has written a book on Vivekananda's message for young men or something of that sort. Mr. Murthy is a close friend of mine, a scientist, but presently retired from ISRO, Bangalore. I asked him a question. Mr. Murthy, where do the scientists stand with respect to God particle? I was very much interested to know more and more about it, but I didn't have any access. Therefore, I wanted to consult this great man. What he said was very much startling. It was startling to me. It will be equally startling to you too. You know what did he say? Swamiji, presently, the scientific community is a dilemma to know whether it is a God particle or the God particle. If it is an A God particle, it is one among 235 particles that are already there in existence. The smallest of which is boson, again an invention by our Satyendranath Bose, an Indian again, S.N. Bose, a close aide of Einstein, Albert Einstein. If it is a God particle, it is something which you have added only a little to particle physics. If it is the God particle, it will not remain a particle, because the in English language it is definite article. When it is the God particle, then it won't remain a particle, it becomes field. If it becomes field, you have to say almost on the same lines that Shankara said. It is one and it is evasive in knowing its characteristic. You are falling in line totally with the findings of Indian philosophers only. If it is a God particle, your contribution is negligible. Much ado about nothing. Mountain out of molehill or something of that sort. So much ado about that God particle. So many scientists have gone to France, so many scientists have gone to Switzerland. In a tunnel they are working. For years together they worked out to know how at all the nature of the particle was there at the time. Big Bang happened so that they could know the fundamental particle, nature of fundamental particle and all those things. So much hue and cry was raised. Finally, resulting in what? Resulting in almost nothing. Why this is happening? Why this disastrous development? Even in the field of science, because they are not moving on the right lines. They have neglected India's wisdom. The day Rabindranath Tagore provided solution to Heisenberg, as regards the enigma that they were all engripped in for more than 20 years, pertaining to uncertainty principles, they should have really understood the relevance and importance of Indian wisdom. How many scientists upheld the relevance of Indian wisdom? The other day, the inventor, the father of atom bomb, Robert Oppenheimer, father of atom bomb, you know what did he say? Towards the conclusion of his life, he said, what we shall find in modern physics is an exemplification, an encouragement, and illustration of what we find in Hindu wisdom, ancient Hindu wisdom. Modern science is a reflection of ancient Hindu wisdom. Robert Oppenheimer said, father of atom bomb. What did Erwin Schrödinger say? Father of quantum physics. Finally, through all these confusions, uncertainties, this, that, and all that, scientists came to the conclusion that the finally building material of the universe is consciousness. The building material of the universe is consciousness, prajna. Prajna is the building material, the raw material of which the creation is made. India said that. What did India say? Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. Everything is made of Brahman. And what is one aspect of the nature of Brahman? Prajnanam Brahma. One aspect, most notable aspect of that Brahman is, it is Prajna. Prajnanam Brahma. Aitreya Upanishad says, Prajnanam Brahma. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. That is again a Vedic wisdom. Connect the dots. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. Prajnanam Brahma. Brahman is Prajna. And Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. Brahman pervades everywhere. It has permeated everything. So consciousness is the building material. Again, another $1 million question arose. What is that? Consciousness is singular. But we see everywhere plurality only. Everywhere we see plurality. And how at all the building material of the universe, consciousness, which is always singular? Erwin Schrödinger makes a clear-cut statement in no uncertain terms. There is no framework in the whole world where consciousness is found in the plural. It is singular for which there is no plurality at all. Then how to account for the plurality that you observe everywhere in your daily life? He says, it is our own construction. It is our own construction based on the temporal plurality of the individuals. It is our own construction. Schrödinger says it is our own construction based on the temporal plurality of the individuals, and it is a false construction. It is our own making. It is our observation that things are in plurality, but things are not in plurality. It is our own construction based on the temporary. The plurality is temporary. It is a strategy adopted by God, because one infinite truth cannot convert itself into the multiplicity that constitutes the creation. And therefore some strategy creator has adopted. That is why the Atma has become Aham in every individual. If Atma remains Atman, there won't be any activity at all. There is no Vyavaharika Satya. There is no Vyavahara at all. Therefore, every Atman present in every being has taken upon itself the form of Aham. Because that Aham is there, so many Vyavaharas are going on. Vyavaharas that are based on this Aham, that I am an individual, I am a boy, I am a girl, I am an Indian, you are a German, all these are Vyavaharas. Whenever you are into Vyavahara, and while you are in Vyavahara, when you use the term I, that I refers to not your Atma, but to your Aham. So this is temporal plurality adopted by Creator himself for a limited purpose, for a limited time. It is a strategy. The other day in 1920s, British psychiatrists again came up with similar observation. They defined Aham as a convenient, provisional delusion with a tremendous strategic value adopted by nature itself. What is Aham? Aham never exists. Just as Maya never exists, Aham never exists. A convenient, each and every term is significant here. British psychiatrists defend this. Long ago we had defined Aham as existing nowhere, as never existing. Again, that is the contribution of Sanatana Dharma, paying attention to which we could have been the recipients of this great discovery, which is so notable in modern day science. If we should have paid some attention to all these things. A convenient, provisional, delusion with tremendous strategic value, convenient, temporal plurality, provisional, only for temporary purpose. Delusion, with all that, it's a delusion. Remember, delusion will have more effect than reality so many times. Therefore, that's why Aham is more powerful than Atman. Everybody knows there is Atman, but nobody manifests the qualities of Atman. Everybody manifests vividly the qualities of Aham and not the Atman. Most of the times, strategy or delusion is more powerful than the glaring reality. But solution could have been provided too. For all these enigmatic questions, if you had taken to some study of Indian wisdom some time ago, we didn't do it. That is how an Indian is deluded and is always put in darkness about how great India's contribution has been all along, ever since the dawn of civilization on this soil. Yes, Americans have understood this. Only the other day, one of the founders of American Transcendental Movement, Henry David Thoreau, who worked along with Emerson for building up cultural edifice for America, said, one sentence in the Vedas is worth the state of Massachusetts many times over. You know where is Massachusetts and what is the worth of Massachusetts? Your MIT is in Massachusetts. Your Harvard is in Massachusetts. Harvard School of Law, Harvard School of Economics, they are all in Massachusetts. Massachusetts is the brain of America, the intellectual hub of America. Several such Massachusetts put together will be equal to one sentence in the Vedas. Who said that? The great American intellectual. Notable American intellectual, Henry David Thoreau, one of the founders of American Transcendental Movement, today which is the basis for American culture and American development and American mindset. When did he say? 50 years before Vivekananda went to America, Henry David Thoreau said that. Emerson says, I believe in reincarnation, I have become a Brahmin now. I have become a Brahmin now. Nature makes a Brahmin of me presently. Transmigration of souls is not a myth. This is the statement made by Emerson. Whether he has become Brahmin or Kshatriya, we are not much bothered. What we want is, he has acknowledged Indian wisdom. He takes pride to have roots. He wants to be belonging to India. He wants to be a person who belongs to India, just as Max Muller wanted to proclaim. I must have been some Vedic Rishi some time ago. Otherwise, how would I enjoy this translation of Rig Veda into English? I must have been some Vedic Rishi. When Vivekananda invited him to come to India, he said, why should I come there? I am already living in the Benares of my dreams. I am already living in the Benares of my dreams. A German-born Orientalist who was highly revered by British government, very much revered by scientists like Thomas Alva Edison. You know, when Edison invented that gramophone, it is the voice of Max Muller that he recorded there first. Not the voice of American president, not the voice of Pope, not the voice of British Queen, whose voice was recorded for the first time in the history of mankind in that gramophone that was invented by Thomas Alva Edison. He came all the way from America to London to record the voice of Max Muller. Right Honorable Frederick Max Muller. Such a fellow will say, I am already living in the Varanasi of my dreams. Vivekananda invited him when he met him in Oxford. These people can appreciate. One sentence in the Vedas is worth the state of Massachusetts many times over. What a statement is that? Can there be a greater tribute than this? Can there be a greater homage than this? We, the people of India, we never understand all these subtleties. We never turn our attention to the treasures that our forefathers have bequeathed to us, have left as legacy for us. We never bother to know about. So like this, friends, I can go on narrating before you for hours together as to how beautiful has been the contribution of ancient Indians for science right from beginning till today. Today's questions pertaining to ancient days, in the field of science, I mean. Even evolution. Darwin never gave you the complete theory of evolution. And even in the little of what he has given, there are certain lacunae here and there. Darwin simply paid his attention for the evolution from amoeba, the unicellular organism, up to human being. In post-human evolution, what is his contribution? What has he said about that? Nothing. Virtually nothing. And it is here that evolution is more important and more significant, because the world suffers because of the mischief of man more than the mischief of any subhuman species. World gets destroyed if a mischievous fellow takes it seriously into his head. How to regulate this process of evolution in every individual in such a way that he always thinks constructively and not on destructive lines? That's $1 million question. Almost a continuous and eternal challenge before the thinking sections of the world. But what is his answer? What is his light? No light. No light. No photon of light. India comes to our rescue here. The post-human evolution, India has elaborately discussed, and that is the subject matter of Raja Yoga. Raja Yoga means post-human evolution. Every student must be taught about Raja Yoga. Every boy, every young girl, every boy, every human. And the teaching must first be known by the Indians, and they later should impart this to the rest of the mankind. But Indians are the most complacent sections of mankind as regards this. Everybody else is a bit interested. Indians have turned their back, because for them it is the most scientific way of looking at things. Turning your back to every treasure that India can afford to give you. Shamelessly we do it. And therefore others are all robbing off our treasuries from us, and they put their brand name above that, and with all the sense of being blessed, we accept it. Your pranayama is being termed in their own way, and your fasting is being termed by them in their own way. Every other thing born of Indian wisdom one day will be grabbed by them, and it will be branded in their way, and we will be happy to receive it. No honorable man can ever entertain this, but we do it. That is the sign of honor for us. So, Raja Yoga is a post-human evolution. Because Raja Yoga says very clearly, it is not physical evolution anymore. It is not organic evolution anymore. In subhuman species, everywhere you see organic evolution being predominant. From amoeba to man, there will be marked change in the physiology of the being. That is what we term as organic evolution. When it comes to man, the lowest man and the highest man physiologically appear same. Nose won't be different, eye won't be different, ear won't be different. Physiology will remain same. The difference lies in the psychology of the person concerned. A Veerappan and Vivekananda physiologically appear same. But going by their psychology, they are poles apart. And how to bring about this orientation towards construction, this orientation towards being blessed, this orientation towards being a great benefactor for the mankind and never a destructive material. How to bring about? Can we bring about this orientation in the psyche, in the mindset of a man? We can. We can. This is the subject matter of any yoga. So yoga is something that deals with evolution directly. So many such things are there, Upanishads are there, etc. Either they are dealing with such important topics as evolution, fundamental material of the universe, this, that, and all that. And therefore it is high time that we did take a review of what we should do with respect to our own legacy, and we paid some serious attention towards it. There is Ayurveda, there are so many other branches of science at which even today's scientists are dumbstruck. When Alexander came to India, seeing the proficiency that the surgeons had achieved in surgery in Takshashila University, immediately he made a resolution that his Greek army from now on should be attended to, should be taken care of by Indian surgeons and not the surgeons from Greece anymore. How do I know? Megasthenes makes a reference to it. Strabo makes a reference to it. Both are Greek historians. That was what the ability of Indian surgeons of those times. Charaka, Sushruta, later in later days they come. And it is Charaka who gave a comprehensive definition for science. He never said health means absence of disease, which for a long time the Western corridors used to say. Absence of disease. It is not absence of disease. He says, unless a person is in possession of these 16 great qualities, you can't say he is healthy in the comprehensive sense of the term. 16 qualities he enlists. And remember, all these 16 qualities were there in Rama, according to Valmiki, that has written Ramayana. Purva Vibhashi, Sumukhaha, Yashta, Hota, Data, Atithinam Pujakaha, Kale Hita Mita Madhurarthavadi, Nischintaha, Nirbhikaha, Hliman, Dhiman, Dakshaha, Kshamavan, Dharmikaha, Astikaha, Mangalachara Shilaha. These were the qualities Rama was in possession of. Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma. These qualities were a part and parcel of his nature. So beautiful. If I explain everything, you will be struck at the greatness of the personality that Rama had. That is why the whole city of Ayodhya were grief-stricken after he went to forest and could not celebrate even a single festival till Rama returned back. There was no festive atmosphere at all for those 14 years. Nobody wanted to celebrate any festivity. For the reason they felt no meaning for any festivity when Rama is not there in Ayodhya. So much popular he was, so much he could win the hearts of those people. For the reason he had all these 16 qualities that were embodied in him. So like that definition of health is so comprehensive, so accurate. One notable thing that we come across everywhere, whenever we see a reference for science in Indian wisdom, is that it is accurate, it is so comprehensive, it is so rational, it is so universal. So accurate, not a single sentence in the whole of the body of Vedic literature has been changed because of its being invalid, because of its being deserving a sort of modification. Look at the science given by Western Hemisphere. Dalton says something, within 50 years it fizzles out. It falls down, crumbles down. Rutherford says something, it falls down within 50 years. And these are all Nobel laureates. J.J. Thomson says it falls down. Einstein says it's about to fall down. The so-called great scientists from West, whatever they say, they could never give eternality to their inventions. They were never eternal in any sense. While here is the Eastern atmosphere, Eastern Hemisphere, India in particular, where we too have the counterparts for modern science of today, who also have great inventions to their credit and who also come out with their observations expressed in the most lucid language, which is within anybody's access, which is within anybody's understanding, where not a single sentence you can refute 5,000 years after they invented that for any reason. This is India, Bharat. The term Bharat has got its own significance. Bharata. Bha in Sanskrit means light, knowledge, wisdom. Rata means engaged. Anavarata, engaged. A place where people are always engaged in the production and distribution of knowledge is India, Bharat. People are always engaged in the production and distribution of knowledge. Bharata. Girls are named as Prabha. Boys are named as Prabhakara. Sun himself is called as Prabhakara. Prabhakara, Divakara, Bhaskara. Bhahakara, Bhaskara. So this is exactly India. India's contribution to science has been so much that Vivekananda was prompted to make a statement while he was on Western soil. Like, every science has taken its birth in India, it has only been developed elsewhere. This is Swamiji's observation. Every science has taken its birth in India, only it has been developed elsewhere. Elaborations came from other people. We ourselves would have done the elaboration too, but we were not interested. Because we were just as today's America is, it doesn't go in for any sort of a repair work, use and throw. Why waste your time and energy on repairing things? Similar was the attitude on the part of Indians during Vedic times. We never would go for elaboration. We give the foundations for every science and we leave it for the secondary people to go for elaborations. We being the cream of intellectual layer in the world, we would never invest our time and energy on that, which was considered as a secondary business. Vivekananda used to say, I always want to know the why behind things and not the how. I leave the how part to children. I want to know the why behind everything. Similar was the attitude that Indians had adopted, and therefore they were not interested in elaborations. Friends, this is a bit about India's contribution to science, ancient and modern. If you want to know more about that, there are some talks of mine in YouTube. Of course, unfortunately they are in Kannada. For non-Kannada knowing people, they may not be in a position to appreciate. I would like to put some of my lectures on subjects of this type in English too from now on, because there has been a lot of demand from people from all parts of the world to know more and more about Sanatana Dharma, especially after this statement was made by Udayanidhi of Maran, Udayanidhi Stalin of Madras, and which was very fiercely refuted by me in Asia Net Suvarna News from Bangalore. You know, I stood in the studio for about 2.5 hours and I gave all the fitting reply for some of the objections that he had raised. Reply was given, as Swamiji said, there were more than 10 million views within about 1 month. People are thronging to it again and again. And today, one of my brother monks was saying, while I was talking to him, who is in Karnataka today, soon after you return from there, for about 2 months, you will be so busy, Swamiji, because everywhere people want to invite you and make you say something about Sanatana Dharma. So that is how the sensation is after this refutation and rebuttal took place on TV channel. Thank you so much, and thank you so much also for the rapt attention with which you listened to my talk. I am extremely thankful to Harish Babu, our Sachin and Jatin, Mr. Mehta. Only these names I know. So many people may be there behind this process, whose names I don't know. Please excuse me. In and all, please thank you so much for this opportunity. Whenever you come to India, please pay a visit to our ashram. I have centers at Gadag, Bijapur, Bagalkot, Raichur, Yadgir, all northern districts, because it was my Guru's ordainment to me that I should go to northern part of Karnataka and spread the message of Vivekananda. About 40 years ago, he gave this order to me, and I sincerely followed his order, and therefore I work more in northern Karnataka. Doesn't mean to say I don't come to Bangalore, Mysore at all. I do come, but more of my concentration is in northern part. Whenever you come to Hyderabad, Pune, Mumbai, because my center is between Mumbai and Bangalore. I am equally distant. It is as much away from Mumbai as it is from Bangalore. Nearer to Pune and Hyderabad, please do come and give me the pleasure of having a few moments spent with you. Thank you.